Massive Bitcoin event in less than 60 hours. Donald Trump and Michael Saylor are meeting at the Donald Trump crypto ball. Incredible, it's finally happening now. The big meeting that so many people have been waiting for. People have been wondering for a long time why Donald Trump and Michael Saylor aren't interacting. Because Michael Saylor is the biggest Bitcoin bull. Donald Trump is now looking to make the US the new Bitcoin hotspot. And now there's actually going to be the meeting at a private event. It's an organized event where other big names like Brian Armstrong and Mike Novogratz, among many others, will also be present. Forbes even reported here that this could shoot the Bitcoin price to a market cap of $100 trillion. So that's a 50-fold increase in the Bitcoin price. This is ultra-sensitive because it increases the likelihood of a Bitcoin reserve strategy even more. Michael Saylor has been announcing for a long, long time that the US needs to buy Bitcoin, that they should print their own money to buy Bitcoin, or even, he said that they should basically sell gold to buy Bitcoin. I'm not even sure if he said they should print their own money to buy Bitcoin, but he definitely said they should even sell their gold reserves and use that to buy Bitcoin. And now the biggest Bitcoin bull is meeting with Donald Trump, who's about to sign 2 or 3 or more executive orders. At least that's what came out from a secret leak that was published in the Washington Post. Okay, and now there's this big showdown. It says here, 3 days before Donald Trump's inauguration, David Sachs is hosting a crypto ball where Trump will be honored as the first crypto president. Among the special guests are Michael Saylor, Brian Armstrong, and Michael Novogratz. So, in the end, I'd say there's a lot of prominence here. I don't know who else will be coming. And that also shows that they're really serious about this. Because I'm saying, if this were just a campaign gimmick and just a showcase, then you wouldn't be meeting with Michael Saylor here. Then you wouldn't be making all this fuss here to somehow host a crypto ball or something like that here. But it's clear that the intention is to push Bitcoin further ahead. At least, that's my assessment. Donald Trump says yes too. He wants to pump the Bitcoin price up to 150,000. Pump up the US dollar. This was also published by Anthony Scaramucci. It's also said that with a report on Coinbase, the first crypto ball will take place in DC during Trump's inauguration. The host of the first crypto ball is here, David Sachs. We know that by now. Trump, new alliances with AI and crypto moguls, so the one who's supposed to push the whole crypto thing forward. He's probably going to host more events like this in the future, where the big personalities come together. Because something like this has never happened before. You won't find anything like this in any other country, except maybe in El Salvador. That big personalities are being invited here. Nayib Bukele also keeps inviting people like Max Kaiser or Kaiser Wood or Michael Saylor. I don't think Michael Saylor has been invited yet, but he keeps meeting with big leaders to talk to people about Bitcoin here. And it says here on the 17th. In January, it all takes place in the entryway, whatever that is. In the auditorium, you don't really need to know that. Now here comes the juicy part right now. Attention, listen up. This exclusive event includes VIP tickets worth $100,000 and a private dinner package with Trump worth $1 million US. Because some people have said this is basically a crypto ball for Donald Trump, and it's organized in honor of Donald Trump. But will Donald Trump even show up here? And it's clear now you can buy tickets here for $1 million. And if you buy a ticket here for $1 million, you can have dinner with Donald Trump here. And this is a clear confirmation that Donald Trump will also be present here. Because otherwise, they wouldn't be selling a ticket like this here, where you can go to dinner with Donald Trump. It also says here, major sponsors like Coinbase, MicroStrategy, and Galaxy Digital are supporting the event, signaling a shift towards pro-crypto regulation in the U.S. So we see that there's some serious lobbying going on here. That means the big Bitcoin companies like MicroStrategy, Coinbase, and so on are basically throwing money on the table here to support things like this. And of course, Michael Saylor also wants to change the regulations, throwing money on the table to support things like this. And of course, Michael Saylor also wants to change the regulations. Coinbase definitely wants to improve the regulations here because they simply have a big advantage here. That means you can also criticize that a bit because now actual lobbying is taking place. That means political events are basically being funded by Bitcoin companies here, where political people are supposed to be influenced again. So you can definitely see that critically. But no matter what, for the Bitcoin price, this is an ultra-relevant event, and I think it can have a really, really big impact. Because, as I said, a lot of people have always been speculating. Saylor is contributing. An escalation is possible. The beef, are they arguing, or is there some kind of issue? But no, now we see both guys at the same table, and Michael Saylor is even paying a share of the whole event. So we're looking at a potential escalation coming our way. And then the executive orders could actually come into play. So folks, if everything that's brewing here actually works out, then we could really be looking at a very, very bullish Q1, and maybe even Q2 and Q3 in 2025, and Q in 2025, 21. We're really looking forward to this. So I'm definitely very, very curious. But feel free to let me know down below how you assess the current situation, how you see things. Forbes even talks about a 100 trillions Bitcoin prices. With the 100 trillion Bitcoin price prediction, you're obviously talking about a market cap of 100 trillion. Not that the Bitcoin price is going to hit 100 trillion. They're diving back into the leak here, where it was basically leaked to the Washington Post, that it seems Donald Trump is going to sign 3 executive orders, or more or less. It's not exactly clear. But for sure, he will sign a few executive orders here. And we're assuming here that there's going to be a 100 trillion Bitcoin Godzilla to the moon candle, or whatever you want to call it. This will trigger here, of course not all at once, but in the long run. And not based on price here, but it's probably referring to the market capitalization. That theory is really far-fetched. It probably won't happen during Donald Trump's time in office, but probably in the long run. But definitely the regulation that's happening here and all the stuff going on around Donald Trump could trigger a rally here that you might not have seen in this way before. And then something just happened here. Something really intense is happening. I'm no longer in El Salvador, but here they say, El Salvador's President Nayib Bukele will fully integrate Bitcoin into the country's economy and accelerate the development of a decentralized nation-state model by 2025. They're starting to install a Bitcoin node in every Salvadoran household. So State Advisor Max Kaiser. So that would be ultra crazy if there was a Bitcoin node in every household. I mean, it's not realistic. That's definitely not going to be possible. I can say from my own experience, but there are just a lot of people. They don't even have electricity when you ride a motocross up into the mountains. There are actually people who don't have any real electricity there, and so on. So that means they definitely won't have Bitcoin nodes up and running, but what's probably meant is that they want to start integrating Bitcoin nodes into households bit by bit. There were already ideas about integrating a Bitcoin node into something like a Fritzbox so that you can promote the decentralization of the Bitcoin network even more and give people here more self-sovereignty. And in the end, that's really, really good. What's happening here? That the infrastructure of Bitcoin is also supposed to be further strengthened here. And that shows once again that the Bitcoin project in El Salvador hasn't failed at all. That's why I'm going to head back pretty soon. After El Salvador, I'll show you where I am in just a moment. But before we check that out, let's go to a clip. One that was actually released here about Michael Saylor. It just shows how crazy Michael Saylor is. The whole clip is already going viral on the internet. Just take a look at it, and then I'll give you my assessment afterward.
What happens to all these great models if 10 billionaires decide to buy $1 billion worth of Bitcoin each in an ounce? We bought it. We're not ashamed of it. We're going to buy more. All your models are wrecked. We're not ashamed of it. We're going to buy more. All your models are wrecked. Completely wrecked. Bitcoin is coming to Earth, which is the best cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is the best cryptocurrency. What's the second best? There is no second best. There's a cryptocurrency called Bitcoin, right? There's no second best. Okay. It's not like gold and Facebook. Let me put it another way. The people who use fiat currencies as a store of value, there's a name for them. We call them poor. Take all your money and buy Bitcoin. So take all your time and figure out how to sell more stuff to buy more Bitcoin. Then take all your time and figure out what you can sell to buy Bitcoin. The point is, if you have the higher asset, it lasts forever. Laura, forever.
So here are actually the best statements from Michael Saylor compressed into a very, very short time. He basically starts here. That models are destroyed as soon as 10 billionaires start buying Bitcoin here. So as soon as the big whales start here. No idea the Mark Zuckerbergs or the Michael Dells when they all suddenly buy Bitcoin. Because a lot of people assume, okay, there's the stock to flow model or there's the power law model. And then some people think they can project here how the price of Bitcoin will evolve. But no, Michael Saylor makes it very clear to you when there's a massive number, or it doesn't take much at all, somehow just 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 billionaires, not millionaires, but billionaires, who start buying Bitcoin here. So billionaires need to be translated back into German. Those are billionaires. That's always confusing. Billionaires, billionaires. If they definitely start buying Bitcoin here, then Bitcoin is going to shoot up massively. And then all the price models will be massively broken here. That's basically Michael Saylor's statement. And by the way, check it out back there. I'm actually here in Paraguay, up here on the rooftop. Here you can see my pool down there. In the back, I have this little chill out area and a couple of loungers and stuff. But it's actually very, very hot here. It's actually almost 37, 38 degrees right now. I need to check out the city a bit now. Unfortunately, I'm in the city. I actually don't like it that much, like at all, in the city. I actually always prefer to be somewhere in nature, but I actually have to go into the city now to take care of a few things. But I'll be heading back to El Salvador pretty soon. I actually hate chlorine pools, but maybe I'll still jump in later. Because it's just so hot here. And actually, I don't think anyone really guessed where I am right now, because I asked you in the last video. Drop a comment below about where you think I'm heading now. Most people said some things, but no one guessed correctly. So I actually just landed here in Paraguay. But it's actually a very, very interesting country, because the cost of living here is really low, right? I mean, forgive me for this, but I've got this huge rooftop and a massive room down below, and everything, or like a whole suite, or whatever. And you pay like, I don't know, 40 bucks a night or something. And the room is already way too big. This area here and everything. Yeah. The cost of living here is definitely very, very low. That's why a lot of expats find it interesting. But here you are in the city and there's no ocean or anything. That's why I think, hold on, yeah, I'm probably going to get bored here pretty quickly. I'd rather get back to the ocean and stuff. Can you also drop a comment about whether any of you have been to Paraguay? Michael Saylor definitely goes further. He says, there is no second best. I need not say more. No Bitcoin or anything. There is no second best asset. No Bitcoin, no whatever. No euro, no dollar can compete with Bitcoin. No kings, no property. And then there's the bold statement where he says, take all your money, buy with it. Bitcoin. Once you've done that, try to accumulate as much money as you can to basically generate even more Bitcoin. So when he talks about accumulating, that's what he means here. Take on debt. And once you've done that, think about selling all your other assets and buying even more Bitcoin with that. So here's the absolute Bitcoin maxi move that Michael Saylor recommends. And then he simply says, it's going up forever, Laura. So that Bitcoin is going to keep rising forever. And that's what it means. As long as Bitcoin is basically priced in US dollars, it will keep going up. Sure, it just keeps going up because Bitcoin is somehow limited here. Everything else is expanding. Even the US dollar is constantly expanding. And you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out that Bitcoin is going up. And Laura really needs to get that, to figure out that Bitcoin is going up. And Laura really needs to get that. If you're feeling bullish and want to buy some Bitcoin, I'll drop a link for you below. 21 Bitcoin. The easiest way to buy Bitcoin here in Europe. Here, with the code Bitcoin Hotel, you can still get up to 20% off the fees when buying Bitcoin. Let me show you my view from the rooftop here in Paraguay. Here you can see the city. Yeah, there are a lot of skyscrapers. As I said, it's definitely a really, really cool place. It's a city that I still need to explore a bit later. Then I can update you again. What's going on here? Let's see if we can pay with Bitcoin somewhere around here. See you then. Peace out.